CopperAlice here with prompt number 4. I think this is the third or fourth time I've tried to record this. I can't keep a straight thought in my head. Ayame is here with me, and because I can't keep it straight in my head exactly how I want to talk this out, get it all out and everything like that, I'm just going to read out exactly what I have written here on my screen, because sometimes you just got to keep a good record of your information. And like I said, like I've tried to say a few times, some people have backgrounds for their dolls because they like to add on to the character and everything like that. And some people just like to collect the dolls. In my case, I like to have characters along with my dolls because it's just something nice and fun to do. Okay, Katniss is at the top of my list, so I'm just going to read from that. She was originally born back in the late 1600s, and she grew up in her coven because she is a witch. Like I said, she's a witch displaced out of time. She grew up in her coven alongside a fellow who was a family friend. He never seemed to age, and he eventually became something much more to her when she was older. And he seems to have felt the same way. Eventually, she had been working on a sleeping spell that was only supposed to last about 1 year. And then somewhere along the lines it got botched up, and she wakes up about 300 years later in 2011. In 2011 when she woke up alone. She was supposed to wake up with him by her side. She was found by her now best friends Lucian and Isla, who are my friend's dolls, Wolf Soul over on Dairyland, and they sent Katniss to come live with me. And then that's how that ended up with Katniss. The next is Haritsu. You know, when I ended up getting him, he has a bit of a long background story here going on already. Alright. His background is being a person of limitless age. He's traveled around a lot, been to almost all areas of the world. Having heard of a person called Corvair Blackheart, he became curious, coming to the young witch's house, which is now where he had taken up residency. Myself. He has a blood brother named Ayame, whom also roams the earth from time to time. They cross paths. His blood brother was a captain during the Great War of Atlantis, which is how they met. Haritsu had gotten into a lot of trouble in his early years. During the late 1600s, during the early 1700s, the last time he'd seen Ayame was after he had protected a woman, Katniss, from being mauled to death by a werewolf, which is how Ayame became a lycanthrope. After that, they went their separate ways on account that Aya had said that he had a lot to think about. And then Ayame, being Haritsu's blood brother, they both shared a phylactery. They knew each other from the Great War of Atlantis. Ayame was the captain of the squadron, Haritsu being a nobleman's son. Hari and his antics when he was younger had gotten into a lot of trouble, which is how Ayame and Haritsu met. They became friends eventually, and at some point they created the blood bond and became blood brothers. Fast forward to the 1600s, early 1700s, Ayame finds Katniss. Feelings came to him that he didn't understand. He had been part of her coven since she was 5. He watched her grow up. He was the person she told her secrets to, and the person she cried to. And then, in part because he didn't age, he eventually became her lover. At one point, Katniss was experimenting with a sleeping spell. It was only supposed to last about a year. He was to be there when she awoke. He left a few days after having saved her from getting mauled by an angry werewolf because he'd come to realize she was mortal and one day might die. Just like every mortal, he didn't want to go through that anguish. And after coming to realize his love for Katniss, he came back for her to her home and to her coven to offer immortality. If she hadn't accepted it, he would have given up his own. And that's how deeply he realized he had cared. There will be a part 2 for this as well for my other dolls once they get here. But all in all, that's kind of how it ended up being. It's kind of complicated. I wish I would have been able to do this a little bit better than I have. But the story just kind of gets more complicated as you go along. I do have a live journal account that chronicles all of the photo stories that I have created so far from Dairyland. Hopefully I'll get those onto DOA at some point. But I have all those chronicled, and I'll leave a link down there for that if anyone's interested in looking at that. I would go more into about relatives and things like that, but that would kind of spoil some of the upcoming photo stories for the next 3 dolls that are coming in, which is why there'll be a part 2 and possibly a part 3, depending on how it works out. But for that, I guess that's about it for this one, and I guess I don't think I'll be able to do the prompt number 5 yet because I'm currently not at home. I am at somebody else's place right now. But I will get that done. Here's to keeping with my New Year's resolution, guys. CopperAlice out.